Right, welcome back. Something different today. It's a Sunday morning. I'm in Shrewsbury and we're going to do a little walk round. I'm going to show you some of the historical sites and streets. Let's go. Right, so we're going to start our walk on town walls, and the beautiful building opposite, dated 1724, I believe was the old Bowdler School. I'm not sure if it was a blue coat school. And then right opposite we've got the old BT Exchange building. Couldn't have two completely different buildings, could you? So this is the Roman Catholic Cathedral on town walls. So Shrewsbury is a town rather than a city, even though it does have a cathedral. Yeah, we'll carry on along town walls. So this is pretty much all that remains of the medieval town walls of Shrewsbury. So at one point they would have encircled the town. They've made way for other things. So Shrewsbury has quite a mix of architecture. We're quite lucky, really. There has been a lot of buildings that have gone, but we still have amazing buildings like this still remaining, this Georgian crescent here. And part of this was used in the filming of The Christmas Carol when it was filmed in Shrewsbury in 1984. It's a lovely reminder. So it's built in 1793. Got a nice view up Belmont there. So this tower here is the last remaining tower that would have been on the town walls. It's actually owned by the National Trust now, and certain days of the year it is open that you can go and have a look inside. I've never managed to catch one of those days. Beautiful building here is the former eye, nose and throat hospital. Isn't it beautiful? So it's apartments now. I'd love to know what they're like inside. I remember going in there once for a small little operation and it was beautiful inside. Right, so we're going to turn down Swan Hill and have a look what beautiful buildings are down here. So Like I said, there is a real mix of architecture here in Shrewsbury. Tudor, Edwardian, Georgian, Victorian, even some 60s buildings. A fantastic gate. I don't think I've ever seen this building before. A beautiful Tudor 1628 it says on the top. Isn't it beautiful? Right, let's carry on down. So we've got our first view of St Chad's just at the bottom of this street.
Starbucks is about halfway between where we are now and where we were last night.
So we're just coming up St John's Hill. As you can see, they're doing some major excavations in the street. But more beautiful buildings. There's an old, I presume it would have been a coach house at some point. So we're back onto, well, I'm not sure if this is town walls or if it's called Murivants. But opposite there we've got St Chad's Terrace, and we're going to go along past the quarry to our left and St Chad's Church on our right. So we're just overlooking the quarry, not the quarry park as it's come to be known in the last few years. It's always been the quarry. And over on the hill you can see the red brick building, that's the Kingsland School. There's been a few things in its past. I'm sure it's been an asylum, it's been a hospital, a workhouse, and then finally a boys' school, and some famous names have been there in the past. You can see the dingle, beautiful gardens laid out. So as its name suggests, it was a quarry, and I'm pretty sure it was for limestone, which has built many of the buildings in the town. But yeah, it's a busy place. And pan round, we can see the beautiful circular church of St Chad's, the new St Chad's. We'll possibly pass the old one, and I'll tell you what happened to that if we go past it. If not, I'll put the information on the screen. But it's a beautiful church. So as the sign says, we're going to head down Claremont Bank. Beautiful little cobbled, well, not cobbled, but paved street. Some lovely Lovely little houses down here. Lots of little courtways. We'll have a peek through this little gate. See up there. So we've just entered onto Barker Street, and the black and white building over there is Rowley's mansion, I want to say. So in this row here you can see the mixture of the different architecture in Shrewsbury. You've got the Tudor, Georgian, So we're just looking down Mardle now, and we've got the King's Head pub right down the bottom. And then we've got this amazing building here with its fantastic lean on it. Going to head up a Rouse Hill bank now. Steep little street, but there's one of the, I think, the most beautiful buildings at the top. We're heading up Pride Hill now. And this is one of those streets where it's definitely worthwhile to look up. So we leave Pride Hill and on to, is it Castle Street or Castle Foregate? So we're just looking across this brick building opposite is the site of the former Raven Hotel, which is actually mentioned in Howard's End by E.M. Forster, but it was ripped down mid-20th century and replaced with this. And for anyone who remembers, this was where Woolworths used to be in Shrewsbury. Yeah, we're going to go down here now, I believe. So this is Traitor's Gate down here. And we'll just do a short detour down to the river, if we can get. And show you an interesting little feature. If we can get past this works van down here. So you can probably see down at the bottom through this arch, you can see the river is pretty high at the moment. We've had a lot of rain over the last week or so. So this is St Mary's Well Arch, I believe it's called. St Mary's Watergate. So they believe this is where the people of the town would come down and collect their water from. For drinking, washing, bathing, you name it. But yeah, the river is very high, it's up over the pavement down there. We're only going to come down here and go back up. There's the railway bridge. Victorian Railway Bridge. And if we look the other way, just opposite is the site of where the Gay Meadow football ground used to be for the mighty Shrews. Could you imagine coming and getting your drinking water nowadays from here? You can see down there towards the English Bridge. The river is very high. Right, so let's head back up away from the river, back up through St Mary's Watergate and continue our walk. Right, so we've just come out onto St Mary's Place, but the wonderful St Mary's Church and the Parade Shopping Centre, which used to be the Royal Salop Infirmary. It's quite nice in there. If you ever get a chance to go and have a look. It's supposed to be quite haunted, but it's a wonderful building. head just down the side of the parade here into St Mary's Court. You can see what a wonderful building. Some wonderful Georgian buildings just down here. It's going to bring us out onto St Mary's Street. This building here is actually a forgery. It looks like it's Tudor, but it's actually Victorian. Just in St Alkmund's Square at the back of St Alkmund's Church, and then just peeking out there we can see St Julian's Church. So just ahead of us, the timber frame building, is the Bear Steps. Now they think there was like bear baiting or bear fighting in this area, and this building was actually earmarked for demolition in the 1980s, and it was only kind of saved at the last minute, and thank God it was. But it's now a cafe and an art space. Right, we're now heading down Fish Street. A beautiful Tudor little street with some amazing buildings. You can see the steps going up to the Bear Steps. Right, we're going to head down Grope Lane. Now, the original name of this street was, well, let's just say, streets back in the medieval times, Tudor times, described what the main businesses were. So we've got Milk Street, Fish Street, Butcher Row, and this was where the prostitutes hung out. So it was originally called Grope Cunt Street. Pretty descriptive. As you can see, it's quite narrow. Would have been dark. And quite interestingly, there is a church at the top of the street, St Alkmund's, that we've seen, and there is a church almost at the bottom of the street, St Julian's. And it's believed that the monks, vicars, abbots frequented this area and took a cut of the money, which is quite interesting. But we're going to come out onto High Street. Just have a look back up. But as you can see, it's very narrow. It would have been dark. I'll leave the rest to your imagination. Heading to the square now. And again, mixture of the architectural styles. And this beautiful building in front, which was the well, I think it was an insurance building. The Alliance Insurance Company, maybe. I think it was also the headquarters of the fire brigade. It's a stunning building, repurposed as Halifax Bank. Head underneath the old market hall. It's a lovely place to come and watch a film. And in front of us we have the old Shrewsbury Music Hall. Now the Museum and Art Gallery, interesting place to go and have a look. So that's the back of the old market hall. And we're going to head down here to College Hill. the Admiral Benbow pub in front of us. And we're going to turn left onto College Hill. So we've got a plaque here, it says Chronicles House. I wonder what that derives from. A beautiful little court down there, look. It does say it's a private road, so we won't go down, but isn't it beautiful down there? And then we've got a lovely view down the street. We've got St Winifred's Convent of Mercy here. I believe it is still a convent. Beautiful. And then we're going to take a walk through the grounds of Old St Chad's Church. This is Old St Chad's Church. It was much bigger than this originally, and Thomas Telford visited in 1788, and he took one look at the structure and the foundations and said, that's going to collapse. Oh, and the townspeople said, oh no, it's not going to collapse. And there was an earthquake and it collapsed. So this is all that's left. There was a tower, much bigger structure, and he was right. He was a bit of a smart ass, wasn't he? But it's a beautiful area around here. And we turn into Princess Street, home of reputedly the oldest pub in Shrewsbury, which is the Golden Cross here just on our right.
Lots of
And we're heading down Peacock Passage. One of the many little passages and shuts that makes up Shrewsbury. Look at these little shop fronts. Brings us out onto High Street. We head up Fish Street, so we're almost kind of doubling back on ourselves here, but it's the only route I could do to kind of include different things. So we can see St Altman's Church again in front of us, and we're going to go past the Three Fishes pub, which was one of the first no smoking pubs in Shropshire, if not the UK. So you can see it there, still running as a pub. So you can see the sign there, says the original smoke-free public house. And the last white building, I believe, is called Wesley House, and John Wesley, the preacher, Methodist preacher, came to Shrewsbury and stayed there. Just at the top of Wild Cop here, got the Grand Lion Hotel opposite, and we're going to go up through Lion Passage, which is where the stagecoaches would have gone up to drop people and pick people up. So So you can just see there the car park for the Line Hotel where the stage coaches would have come through. I'm going to head down here. And we're going to head down Barracks Passage. We're going to go past on the right here the Henry Tudor Inn. And we're back on Wild Cop, just looking at these fantastic Tudor buildings. And this magnificent building in front of us is now Tanner's Wine Merchants. It used to be a pub at some point. It's just one last look at Wild Cop. And we are going to head down St Julian's Friars. So as the name suggests, there was a friary down here of St Julian. And I do believe part of it does still exist at the back somewhere. So we're just coming back out onto the English Bridge, and just opposite there's a cafe called the Condor. Just a tad busy in there, but I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I asked people of Shrewsbury what their favourite cafe was, and that came out on top by quite a margin. So I'll have to give it a try next time I'm in Shrewsbury. But yeah, it's quite busy in there, so that's a sign of how popular it is. So I'm going to head over the English Bridge back to my car. Just have a look over the balustrade here. You can see how flooded it is in Shrewsbury at the moment. I mean, it does get a lot higher back at the Abbey Church. Which signals the end of our walk. And so, with the magnificent Abbey Church of Shrewsbury behind me, marks the end of my walk around the beautiful town of Shrewsbury here in Shropshire. Hope you enjoyed it. If it's something you'd like to see more of, let me know. I'd love to know what you think of Shrewsbury and its magnificent buildings. And yeah, drop me a comment, let me know if this is something you'd like to see a bit more of, and I shall see you next time.